when the relationship went downhill. This is the exact time the relationship went downhill. One day, like, he came into the house and I was like tired from work and stuff like that, and he came in the house and he sat on the bed and he was like sad. He's like, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, did you cheat? Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Codenamechanel, and I'm back with a story time. Okay, this story time is gonna be on my toxic relationship, or a previous toxic relationship I had from 17 to 19. So yeah. And the reason I decided to do the story time is because I do plan on doing a story time on my marriage. So yeah, a lot of people have been asking for a marriage story time, but I feel like I need to do this story time first because this relationship kind of shaped me into the person that I am. So I definitely want to do this one before I do my marriage story time. I've ever had that have shaped who I am, and there's like three. I feel like maybe 3 or 4, and this one is definitely like the main reason why I feel like I am the way I am in relationships, and it's good and bad because I learned so much from this relationship. So if you're new to my channel, it's all love over here. You feel me? I'm gonna be smacking my lips. I'm gonna be moving my hands a lot. I'm gonna be playing with my hair. That's just how I am. I stutter. I mean, literally, I'm a little hood with it. If you like me, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification button below because, you know, the bitch is kind of lit. And if you're a returning subscriber, then of course it's all love, and it's always going to be love. And I always say that because, like, I really do appreciate you guys. There's so many other people you guys could be subscribed to, so many other story times, so many other finesse channels, and you guys choose me. So, you know, so if you're ready for this story time, then stay tuned. It'll be like, if you're in a toxic relationship right now, you don't realize it. Maybe after hearing this story, you'll come to some realization that the person that you with is toxic as fuck, because it took like a long time for me to like realize, okay, this is not a healthy relationship. I was around like 17. I was living with my sister. I've lived on and off with my sister my whole life. My sister is like literally the person who raised me, the main person who raised me. I love her. And she was really close friends with one of her exes, and he had a cousin, and that is the ex that, you know, this story time is going to be about. And I haven't thought about what I was going to call him because every name sounds too similar to his name, and he follows me on social media. I don't follow him back. The ex who this story time is about is God, you guys, I'm telling you, like, I never thought I would be telling this story. Don't hate me, please. I just want to get this out because I recorded this story time before. That's why it might be a different thumbnail when I upload this video. I recorded this story time before, and like, I deleted it because I'm just like, I don't want people to know me like that, you know. But now that I feel like I'm a YouTuber and I'm basically telling everybody a lot of stuff, I feel like, okay, it's only right for me to actually open up and let people know me, because on Instagram I'm not very open. I've never been very open with people on telling them about my business. I've always been like that. I'm a Taurus, and we're very, you know, private people. And I hate to bring up the zodiac sign, but it's so true. Him through my sister. When I first met him, I didn't really like him. I didn't think that he was my type. Like, he was tall. That's something that I did find like attractive about him, I guess. But I didn't really like him like that. But like, I would walk to the bus stop and I would see him, and he would have on like he was in college, and I had just graduated high school, and he would, like, you know, say hi to me and stuff, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, I know your sister, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know. And then I knew my sister was trying to hook us up, so it wasn't like a coincidence that we was running into each other. Like, he already had. That was a ghost. I'm telling you, this apartment is haunted. So he was really nice, and like, he would do stuff for me, and it'd be like cool or whatever. And then, you know, we started actually like dating each other and like hanging out and like going to the movies and things like that. And back then, I would say that I was very independent. I am still very independent. I've always been a hustler. I've always had a hustler mentality. Like, so I was grinding. I had a job. Like, I really wanted a car. I really wanted my own place. So, you know, I was grinding. So I was really busy. And then he was in school. Like, he seemed like the type of person who would like add to my hustle, because he was in school and he played sports and he was very smart. So yeah. Anyway, long story short, I ended up getting into it with my sister, and I wanted to move out. Like, you know how when you get into one of those arguments with a family member you're staying with,
be like, oh yeah, I gotta go. It's time for me. I'm really about to be on my hustle, and I'm moving out.
Like, that's how I felt, and you know, that's what happened. I moved out, and me and him ended up moving in with his uncle and his auntie. At the beginning of our relationship, I had 2 jobs. I worked at a grocery store, and I worked at a fast food restaurant. So like, yeah, I was really busy, and I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any girlfriends. I've actually, the years before that, I had so many girls just be trifling to me. I didn't trust nobody, so he was all I had. So when me and my sisters got into it, like, he was all that I had, and he knew that. And he had his family and stuff like that. We were living with his aunt and uncle. So he knew that, you know, and he was just like, you know, always, if I was like, should I call and make up with him? He'd be like, no, like, did you forget what they said to you or something like that? And like, I didn't know how he would manipulate me in that way to like isolate me from my family. And this could just be my imagination. Let's just say this is my imagination, because one thing, when I tell a story, I'm never the good guy. I'm always, I like to be fair. So I feel like maybe he wasn't, but he did say stuff like that. So whatever. So it didn't end up working out with his aunt and uncle, because they were drug addicts, and they would like steal, and his aunt would like steal my clothes, and she was a kleptomaniac, and she would like steal things all the time. Like, I cannot make this up. So I was like, okay, we need to get our own apartment. We ended up finding a studio apartment, a very cheap studio apartment in San Diego. You're never going to find nothing cheap, a studio apartment as cheap as we found in San Diego now. Like, a studio apartment where I'm from now is like $1,700. So back then it was cheap, and we were able to afford it. But at the time, I was the only one working. Like I said, I was working in a grocery store and a fast food restaurant. I didn't have a car. When he couldn't pick me up, which was weird because he had practice or whatever he said he had, would be on the bus, and I would have like my supermarket uniform on. And then I would like, because my manager at the fast food restaurant didn't like for me to have walking in with my supermarket outfit on. So I would have to stop at like the mall before my trolley stop and change my uniform and stuff like that. So like, that was just the stuff that I was going through, and it was like exhausting. So I told him like, oh, keep in mind, I'm gliding past the part that we just moved in together at 17. Like, that's ridiculous. Don't ever do that. I'm telling you, do not ever move in with a significant other that young, or at all. Always try to keep your own separate place until, I don't know when the right time is to move in with each other, but I like to live alone, okay? I like to live alone, and I guess until you get married, I think that'll be the right time, you know, whatever. I don't like to preach that marriage stuff. When we finally moved into the studio apartment or whatever, like, I felt like, you know, I felt proud. I was like happy, like, okay, we got our own space or whatever. And it really just made things worse, because I had to tell him like, you got to get a job. So he ended up getting a job, and he had a car, and like, you know, like I said, he would pick me up sometimes, and then he wouldn't. And he would like, he wouldn't want to teach me how to drive. I feel like he didn't want me to know how to drive. At the time, I didn't know how to drive. I was 17, and I really didn't know how to drive, y'all. I know I keep repeating that, but I really didn't know how to drive. Ended up paying for a driver's ed class so somebody could teach me how to drive, like hundreds of dollars, because I was just tired of like people not wanting to actually show me how to drive or actually teach me how to drive. And I recommend that, especially if you don't know how to drive. Go to a driver's ed class. Like, pay somebody to teach you how to drive. Like, don't wait on people. So I ended up getting him a job at the fast food restaurant that I ended up quitting. So I quit that job. I didn't want to work there anymore. I didn't want to work 2 jobs. I ended up quitting both of those jobs because I wanted to go back to school. And he ended up getting a job at the fast food restaurant that I quit. So, you know, it was good money or whatever. And I ended up going back to school, but then I ended up getting another job, which I have a story time on. This story time that I'm telling, it was mentioned in my story time on the house party from hell, which was a really good story time. It deserves more views. It deserves more views, okay? Where it's a very underrated story time. So if you want to hear kind of what happened after the relationship and like the crazy stories that happened after the relationship, then definitely watch that video. But I do mention this relationship in the story time, the house party from hell. So anyway, so he ended up getting a job, and then like he started smoking with his cousin. So his cousin came down from where he's originally from, and his cousin came down, and they just started smoking all the time, like smoking weed all the time. And like it was, at first it didn't bother me until the weed started making him forget stuff, or he'll be short on stuff because he had to buy weed and stuff. And at the same time, like y'all, I was still trying to get my license. Like I had just got a new job and I was going to school, and this was like I would always have to catch like the bus and stuff, and I'm like, where are you at? Oh, I'm at his cousin house, you know. And I don't think I made up a name for my ex in this video, so I'm just gonna keep saying ex. But he would be like, I'm at my cousin's house, and stuff like that. And it would just be so irritating and so frustrating. I didn't have any friends or whatever, guys, but he would literally make fun of me because I didn't have friends. Like he would be like if I'm like at the mall or something, we at the mall, whatever, and like a girl come up to me and be like, oh, your nails are cute, your hair is cute. I'd be like, oh, thank you, girl, you know, whatever. And he'd be like, oh, there you go, trying to make friends because you don't have any. Like he would say little things like that, and it really did hurt my feelings because I really didn't have no friends, you know. And I didn't really think about how important friendships are, like, because I didn't trust females no more. You know, I really didn't trust nobody. But that's why I was so surprised at how fast me and his relationship took off. I ended up meeting this girl, and she ended up like introducing me to her group of friends or whatever, and I started hanging out with them. And she didn't work at my job. She just worked at the mall that I worked at. And friendship didn't last long or whatever because like they were into like raves and stuff like that, and I wasn't into raves, so didn't really last long. But it was cool. Like, it was fun, and it made me really want, you know, to start friendships back. So I started going to the club because I started hanging back out with some girls that I knew from like ever. They were people that I distanced myself away from, and I started hanging out with them again, right? So we started going to the club, and like, y'all, at this point, I didn't have no shoes to wear to the club. I didn't have no club clothes. I didn't go to the club. I didn't even have a social media. I cannot make this up. This is when Facebook was booming and Instagram was booming. I've never had a Facebook. Never. And at the time, I didn't even have an Instagram. Like, I didn't want to be on social media. I didn't think I was cute. I didn't want to take pictures. Like, you know, and I think he fed off of that. Like, oh yeah, she bad, but she don't really know she bad or whatever. So, you know, and if you guys ever look up this song by French Montana called Famous, and it literally explains this relationship. Like, not that I wanted to be famous, but in the song, it was just basically saying like he don't want nobody else to know how beautiful his girl is, because then it's gonna open her eyes to see that, you know, she could get better, basically. That's what I got from the song. Anyway, so that's basically what happened. So I went to the club, and like, you know, I was getting like a lot of attention. I remember this night like it was yesterday. Like, I was getting a lot of attention. It was fun, but I wasn't really caring. Like, I had a boyfriend, like, you know. But I remember my friend at the time who was dating my brother told my ex, she was telling him like, oh yeah, she was in the club, everybody was on her, like, you know, and I was wearing her clothes, and she was like, girl, you can have that dress because you owned it. Like, I brought some little cheap heels and stuff like that. So like, you know, then I started thinking like, oh, I want to go out more, and I want to get my hair done more, and I want to get my nails done more. And he was like, this is when the relationship went downhill. This is the exact time the relationship went downhill, because he did not like it. He did not like that I was going out. So around this time when I started going out, he started smoking more. And one day, like, he came into the house, and I was like tired from work and stuff like that. And he came in the house, and he sat on the bed. He was like sad. He's like, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, did you cheat? I was thinking he cheated on me or something like that. Like, I just was like, what? And like, his face looked very, very like, and he was like,
I lost the rent money.
And I'm like, what do you mean you lost the rent money? And he was like, I don't have the rent money. Like, how did you lose it? You know, I was just really confused. Like, how did you lose the rent money? That makes no sense. Like, make it make sense. And he was like, I was about to go deposit it into the bank, and I was about to go get a money order or something like that, and I don't know where it's at. But then he smelled like weed, and at this point, I just thought he smoked it up. Like, even when I was talking to my sisters, and I was like crying, I was upset. I was like, we're gonna be homeless. Like, he was like, I'm gonna just ask my parents for the money, because his parents had money. Like, he didn't come from like the type of background I came from. And that's another thing too. Like, I come from a background where like I was literally like homeless all my life. My mom's a drug addict, like that in one of my other story times, so whatever. He would literally throw jabs and like say stuff like that, like, oh well, at least my mom's not on drugs, or at least my mom loves me. And he would say stuff like that. And did it hurt me? I'm be honest, no. Because when you know something, nobody can use it against you when you own it. So, you know, I don't think too much of it, but that just shows what type of person he is. Shows his character. And again, I'm not trying to make him out to be the bad guy, because I'm pretty sure I said effed up stuff to him before. But I'm just trying to say, like, this is the type of relationship that we had and the type of things that he was saying. I'm pretty sure I said all kinds of stuff. Like, that's why your daddy cheated on your mama with your auntie, like, you know, stuff like that, because that was a rumor. So he, you know, he told me that, and I like called my sister, and I was crying, and he couldn't get the money from his mom. So I was basically like, you gotta go tell the landlord that you lost the money, and see if they'll let us pay our, you know, our next payday or whatever, right? But then I ended up coming up with the money. Like, I ended up hustling the money. I took money out of my savings, and then I actually was like donating blood, and I went to go sell my clothes, my extra clothes I had at Buffalo Exchange. So I ended up coming up with the rent money. The ghetto, I know. Like, and people wonder why I am the way I am with relationships. Well, one thing that I will say is, like, after this relationship, you guys, I wasn't in no more struggle relationships like this, where coming up with money or whatever. I set my standards high ever since. Every dude was a level up. And I will always recommend that. Like, don't be in this struggle of, are we gonna make it together, and I know a change is coming. Like, no, but this is my story. I was a teenager, so I definitely want to tell it. And the studio apartment that we was living in, I was growing out of it. I started getting into makeup. I started getting into, like, you know, my appearance. I started buying more clothes. I started going out more. And this is definitely how I knew the relationship was ending, because I really rather go out than be around him, because all he did was smoke, and he was like really depressed, and he was really emo, and it was just like so irritating. Like, I could not mess with it. So then ended up moving into a nice 2-bedroom apartment in like a nice, you know, area. My brother ended up roommating with us. Well, like, every level was a level up. We were living with his auntie and uncle. Then we had a studio, and now we have a 2-bedroom apartment, and it was really nice. So then he just started being like everything negative, like going through my phone, thinking that I'm cheating. So then my best friend came down from Florida, and she was just like, you need to make an Instagram. Like, you need to post all your little club pictures, you going out and stuff on Instagram. And I just was like, nah, I don't, like, me, I am such, you guys don't know, I'm like such a private person. The fact that I actually, when I got on Instagram and I got addicted, like, I kind of regret it. Like, I missed the Chanel without social media. Oh, another thing is, my name was not Chanel when I was with my ex. Like, I literally came up with Chanel during the end of our relationship, when I was trying to, like, distance myself from the poor ghetto relationship that I was in, and I was just trying to become a whole new person, and I started telling people all these fake names, and then Chanel just stuck. Like, everybody just thought my name was Chanel, and it just stuck with me. So yeah, that's how I got the name Chanel. In the club, I was listening to a song, and Jeezy said Chanel, and I was like, oh, Chanel. Okay. He already had an Instagram, y'all. I just didn't have one. So when I seen on his Instagram, like, he didn't have no pictures of me or nothing like that. Like, I was like, oh, why don't you got no pictures of me on your Instagram? Like, I thought maybe, like, the pictures we took together he had posted on his Instagram, but he didn't. He didn't have it. He didn't post nothing of us on his Instagram. So that was another thing that kind of irritated me, but it was whatever. And so I remember posting a picture of him on my Instagram. He was like, don't post a picture of me on your Instagram so I could look stupid, because I know you cheating on me, and so I could look goofy and people could see you playing me insecure. And So then me and my friend end up going out. Me and my best friend at the time, we end up going out, and I end up meeting this dude. And like I end up like, y'all, I feel like it was love at first sight. And this is horrible. Like, this is the part where I'm telling what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not perfect, you know? So I end up meeting him or whatever, and we end up texting all the time or whatever, and to the point where it was like, okay, this is not my friend. Like, we really like each other or whatever. And so I ended up telling my ex, I'm about to catch myself because I was about to say his name, but telling him about like the relationship that I'm having. Like, me and the dude didn't do anything or nothing. Like, just us texting and like the stuff we were saying. I ended up telling him, and I'm like, you know what? I think we should break up. And like, not that I want to be with this other person, but I just don't want to be like cheating on you. And like, I feel like we've been together and we grew apart and da-da-da. And he would like literally like spazzed out, and he was like,
We're not breaking up. Block that nigga. Duh. I'm not breaking up with you. It's not over.
all this other stuff. Like, I knew this was gonna happen. You hanging out with well, cause she watched my YouTube. So yeah, you hanging out with her, and I knew this was gonna happen. I'm like, okay, well, you know, I ended up blocking the dude that I was talking to, and I ended up deleting his number, and then like, and trying to work things out with my boyfriend at the time, my ex, whatever. I ended up trying to work things out with him, and like, he changed for like 5 minutes, and then he went back to smoking and being depressed, and then he was also trying to be a rapper, so being a rapper and stuff like that. But he was paying, like, we were going half and half on the bills, I will say, but he was paying like the majority of the bills. But it was kind of roommate-ish. But at the time, when you're a teenager, I feel like that's acceptable. 18, 19. Girls, if y'all can get out of that splitting half the bills and having somebody pay all y'all rent, go for it. But at my age that I am now, I'm not splitting bills with nobody. Like, you pay everything. You feel me? But back then, I guess that was okay or whatever, but it's definitely, like I said, the next relationship was a big level up. So we ended up trying to work it out. It didn't work out or whatever. So basically, I felt like we just started like cheating on each other. Like, I don't know who cheated first. I'm being completely honest. I don't know who was cheating first, but I feel like right after that, like, oh, we're going to work it out. Then it was like, boom. Nope, we about to be doing all this stuff. We about to be sneaking around. He about to be coming to the house at 6 a.m. So then my brother, he was staying with us, and like, I brought my brother up in plenty of my story times. I think every single one of my story times includes my brother. He was like, bro, what are y'all doing? Like, why don't y'all break up? And I'm like, yeah, I wanted to break up with him, and like, and he's like, he wants to work it out, and now look at this. But at the time, I needed to take responsibility, because I should have just broke up with him again. And clearly, it wasn't working, you know? But the relationship was so toxic that, like, we just felt like we needed to be together. And we would be, like, still going to the movies and, like, laying up and, like, just talking about our dreams to each other and still, like, acting like it was a real relationship. So this is what happened. So the dude that I had blocked, I ended up running into him again at this really, really popular club where I'm from. And he was in a section. And I remember, like, you know, I was talking to him and the music was loud or whatever, and I got close to him or whatever. And somebody, I kid you guys not, took a picture of him, and it looked like he was kissing me. And at the time, the quality of phones shouldn't have been good enough to take the quality of picture that they sent to my ex. It shouldn't have even been good enough, y'all. It shouldn't have even been good enough, but it was. Because he literally, like, I had got in the house after the club, and he was like, oh, so you back messing with old boy? Oh, okay, that's what's up. Cool. I was like, what are you talking about? So he showed me, you guys. He showed me a picture. Like, he showed me the picture. And I was like, it's not what you think. Like, and then at the time, we both cheat on each other. Like, shut up. Why does it even matter? You know? But it was like, it's not what you think. Like, that he's not the guy I'm cheating on you with. I'm cheating on you with somebody else. Just a mess. Just toxic, unhealthy mess. And I was like, no, he was just at the club. But at that point, he was like so mad, and he like stopped talking to me for 2 weeks, and he actually Actually, around that time, he went back home. He left our apartment and went back home. Like, he did like he drove 15 hours, went to go be with his family. His mom was calling me, telling me how he was telling his family that I was a hoe and and I basically told her, like, both of us are stepping out on the relationship, and you know, both of us ain't shit. Basically, I told her, like, whatever, you know. But he wanted to play the victim, and he was like crying and calling me like, how could I do this to him? It's not funny, but like typical narcissistic traits, because me and him both had narcissistic traits. You know what I'm saying? And he came back, and then we really had a sit down. We really had a talk, and this was like the final talk. Like, yeah, we want to be together. We about to work it out. We really need to stop talking to other people. We really need to stop letting other people in our ears and listening to his cousin and listening to my friends and stuff like that. We really just need to stop. So, we did that, and everything was cool. I was like going to the gym. I was like, you know, I forgot to mention this, but on the course of our relationship, I always was like 140, like 140 pounds, like, for years. I've never been over 140 pounds while at the time. And through that whole relationship, I gained 20 pounds. So I was 160, and I always stayed 160, you guys. I've always stayed 160. And yeah, and then till this day, like, I mean, when I moved out to Dallas, I ended up gaining 10 more pounds, and I was like 170, and the biggest 180. But till this day, like, I never can get down to 140. I've always been, because of that relationship, I gained so much weight. So I used to be in the gym all the time, you guys, working out all the time. And I was like, you know, a movie had came out, and I was leaving the gym, and he was like, oh yeah, I want to go see this movie. You need to, like, let's go. And I was like, I just got back from the gym, like, you know, I'm tired or whatever. So I ended up going to the movies with him. Like, even though I was super duper tired, I went to go to movies, and I ended up posting it on Instagram. And I hadn't posted us in a long time. Keep in mind, like, it had been weeks. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say weeks. It had been months since I posted him on Instagram. So I posted him on Instagram, and I tagged him, like, oh, the movies with Bae. Remember how Instagram used to be like, oh, back in the day, it was just a good time. So then this girl commented under, you know, it was this little Hispanic chick. She commented under, and she's like, LOL. So y'all not gonna catch me in social media drama. Y'all not gonna catch me adding people, not adding people, maybe a sub or two here, but it's not gonna be nothing. I'm always gonna come with my issue off of social media. So that's how I am, whatever. She put LOL. So my sister took it upon herself to comment and was like, what's funny? And she was like, oh, well, he blase blah. I should have came up with a name on my ex for this story time, but my dude at the time, whatever. So she said, my guy said that he was single. This is what she put under the Instagram post, but clearly he's not. First off, if you're messing with my dude, why are you following me on social media? Like, why are you stalking me? I remember her liking my picture. She even commented under some of my pictures before. So I was just like, his fault. I'm not just blaming her. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I just found she just bold or whatever. So, you know what I did, you guys? I deleted the comment. And I didn't even question him about it. I think I screenshotted it and I sent it to him. I'm like, oh, this is one of your little girlfriends or whatever. And he was just like, nah, or whatever. Like, I didn't make a big deal about it. Again, like, we were both stepping out of the relationship. So when this happened, I was just like, we've been, like, that's probably one of the girls that he need to cut off or whatever. I think I blocked her. I don't know. Like, I didn't make a big deal about it, right? Keep that in mind. I didn't make a big deal about it. So a few weeks later, Big Sean and, like, Wiz Khalifa or whatever, them have a big concert. So his brother came over and he like, oh, are you coming to the concert with us, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, nah, she not coming. I said, what concert? And he was like, oh, Big Sean, Wiz Khalifa, all this other people. I said, nah, I don't like Big Sean, but I'm wondering why I wasn't invited. And he like, oh, because my ex like, oh, because you don't like Big Sean. I was like, okay, well, I should have still been invited. But whatever. So they go to the concert. And like something told me to like unblock the girl. So I unblocked the girl, or like I just, you know, was looking at her page. Then bingo, literally like after they get to the concert, a few hours after, she has a picture with her and my dude at the time, whatever, my ex, but at the time my dude. See, I should have came up with a name for him because this is kind of irritating. So she has a picture with him. So of course, what do? I start packing up his stuff. I don't have time. It's over. The relationship been over. This toxic, unhealthy, draining, weight gaining relationship should have been over. So I started packing up his stuff like, oh yeah, nah, this is over with. His Xbox, his shoes, everything, packing it up or whatever. And so when he started knocking on the door, and then at the time my brother was actually OT, so he was out of town. And so when he started knocking on the door, he
Like, why my stuff outside?
you know, because his stuff was packed up outside. And, you know, I sent him the picture. I said, oh, you want to send me a picture with Tavion in my ear from the club, but then look at this, you know? And he like, nah, it's not like that. She's just my friend. I said, nah, this is the same chick that commented under the post. Like, go be with her. It's all good. Like, I do not care. I do not care. I do not care. Like, you know, at all. And like, then she started like calling me. I guess he had texted her. And somehow she had my number. She started calling me like, you need to let him in the house. He needs to get the rest of his stuff. And like, at that point, I had flipped out. I started throwing his stuff off the balcony. I start like breaking like, you know, his stuff. Like throwing it off the balcony, like I said. And I was just like, how dare you have her? How does she have my number? How dare? Like, and that's what I don't like about side chicks. You know, because keep in mind, we're going to blame the cheater. He's the cheater, okay? And I was the cheater too. So, but side chicks be so bold. Like, you know this dude is trifling. He's cheating on his girlfriend. And then you bold enough to call me and tell him to get the rest of the stuff. Like, girl, shut up. Just shut up. So, like, but here's my thing is I never go bad on the side dimes. I never go bad on them. I don't care. So I was just like, yeah. So I was just, you know, throwing his stuff out or whatever. And she was like, but like, I didn't even get into detail of all the stuff that she was saying or like just had said on my Instagram post. Just know like they had a relationship. Like, and it was a serious relationship. Just like me and the dude who was texting and he was upset about that. Like their relationship was very similar. So I ended up throwing his stuff off, whatever, right? And so that night I ended up calling the other dude, the dude that I was caught in the picture with, over to my house. And he lived an hour away, but he was over there in a heartbeat. Like he was there fast. Man, he was fine. I didn't look up his Instagram and be a stalker. I still remember his Instagram name too. So he was so fine. Anyway, so he ended up coming over and I ended up telling him what happened to her because he knew about like I was in a relationship, everything. Like I didn't hide nothing. So, you know, I ended up telling him about that or whatever, right? And I'm thinking my ex is gone because his brother's calling me, his mom is calling me and stuff like that. And they like, you know, he's at his cousin's house. He's going to be chilling out or whatever. I guess he has seen the dude's cutlass or whatever. He drove around my apartment complex, I guess, and he was familiar with the guy's car. I don't know how, you guys. These are pieces of the puzzle I was never able to add up. And he ended up busting out his window of the dude that I had cheated on him with. He ended up busting out his window. And it was even trifling for me to even call the dude over there the same night. Like, just like I'm saying, toxic, trifling, unhealthy relationship. It was just like, you know, unhealthy. And so he ended up busting the dude's window out, right? And I felt so bad. And I was going to pay to get his window fixed, but he was like, nah, like, don't worry about it. But, like, I just felt so bad. So then the next day, I end up going to the gym. Like, because that next morning, we found his car busted. He's like, nah, I'm going to get it fixed or whatever. And he had to drive an hour back to where he lived at with the glass. And it was just a mess. So that morning, I ended up going to the gym just to, like, clear my mind and, like, you know, whatever. I was at the gym for probably like 2 hours, and I get back to my apartment, and like the door is like kicked in or whatever, because I had took his key back. I forgot to tell you that. He didn't have his key, so I had it. The door was bust down. It was like Sharpie all over the walls, food out of the refrigerator. He took bleach and he put it all over the rugs. He cut up all my clothes. He put bleach on my colored clothes, and with my bleached clothes, he put like my makeup, Windex, all types of stuff over all my clothes. He cut up my television. I had 2 flat screen TVs. He cut up both TVs. The thing is, my brother lived there. He didn't touch anything in my brother's room, and I think he knew better, because I think he know that my brother with the business or whatever. So, but my brother's still with the business about me, him doing my stuff like that. But I'm just saying, like, it's a reason why he didn't touch none of my brother's stuff. What else did he do? On my flat irons, he ended up cutting the cords of my flat iron. He ended up like destroying like everything, like the mirrors in the bathrooms. He ended up like busting all those mirrors. Like, he vandalized the whole apartment everywhere but my brother's room. And he wrote like "hole" on the wall, so we know it's him. The audacity, like, you have a relationship on the side, I somewhat have a relationship on the side, but you're mad. Like, dudes, like, why man great until it's time to be great? Like, really? Because it's like the audacity, you're cheating too, but your feelings is more hurt. That's what I'm saying, like, y'all. Anyway, so I ended up making a police report, and my mom ended up getting him fired from his job, and he ended up, like, literally that day, like, my mom she's with the scandal. She's scandalous. I was gonna tell you, my mom is not a person you want to cross. So yeah, she ended up getting his, like, and like had the police looking for him and everything, and basically, like, I didn't know what renter's insurance was back then. I didn't have renter's insurance. I didn't have nothing. Like, everything I had was gone. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, my savings, I didn't really have no savings. Everything I had was gone. Like, I literally didn't have no clothes. He made sure that everything, because I was at the gym for 2 hours, he made sure that everything that I had was gone. That I had nothing, you know? And luckily my car wasn't there, because he probably would have vandalized that. And I made a police report, and nothing came of it. They was looking for him because, you know, I got fired. So he ended up moving back to his hometown, and the girl ended up moving with him. And, like, she was, like, pregnant by him at the time. Who keeps up with these dates? But, like, trifling, like, you're upsetting me for cheating, and then you were cheating, and not only were you cheating, you got the girl pregnant. And 2 wrongs don't make a right. But now I have nothing or whatever. Now I have nothing. But like I said, y'all, I'm a hustler. I ended up, you know, I got everything back times 10. The dude that I was, you know, talking to or whatever, the one I cheated on him with, I don't know why I'm doing quotation marks, because I did cheat. But the dude that I cheated on with helped me. Like, he had, you know, got me new locks, and y'all, it was so expensive. Like, everything, like, even my brother, like, bless his heart, like, he had helped me, because we had to pay for new carpet. He bleached the carpet. We had to pay for new carpet. We had to pay for new mirrors. We had to pay for new everything. It was just basically like the deposit you put down on the apartment, like $1,500-$1,600, had to go towards basically getting the apartment fixed, because I had to tell my complex about it, and they got everything fixed, and then they just gave us a bill. And after that, we never really talked to each other. He actually had emailed me about his dog dying or something like that a few months later, and I never responded to him. And he had his brother reach out to me, and his mom reach out to me, apologizing, because I guess he felt bad for leaving me with nothing. Yeah, I ended up, you know, getting into, you know, another relationship, and then ended up getting married after that. But that's really my toxic relationship story. And really, I guess this will kind of explain why I don't date dudes that or why I date the way that I date now, or why I date up. Because Like, look at that. What's that quote? Would you rather cry in a Bentley or cry in a Honda or something like that? Like, I would rather not cry. But you guys, I was crying in a Honda with no clothes, no shoes, no nothing, because I wanted to be in this struggle love and be in this toxic relationship and go half with somebody or whatever. And like I said, at the end of that relationship, I think I was like 19, 20 or whatever. And I learned so much that every relationship, okay, y'all, my camera died, but I was gonna say every relationship afterwards was like a level up from. That's the end of my, toxic, unhealthy relationship story time. Don't forget to follow me on social media, Codenamechanel, and my Snapchat, Chanel Kid Herb. And don't forget to hit the notification bell below, like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all know the drill. Y'all know the drill. I shouldn't have to go over this. Y'all know the drill. No, but seriously, and then comment what you guys think. Was I wrong? Like, I was wrong. I will admit I was wrong, but he was also, wrong. And like, just comment if you guys had toxic relationships similar to that. I'm nosy. I be going through all the comments. I be going through everything. So until next time, y'all. Peace, love, and rashness. Goodbye.